Yes, so finally Team India has won and King Kohli is also back in form. So welcome to the post-match edition of Man vs Machine, a show where we discuss some really important things like MS Dhoni and his new hairstyle, Butterfinger Ben Stokes, and Michael Vaughan and his art of self-trolling on Twitter. To discuss all this and look at what happened at our pre-match prediction contest, that is Man vs Machine, between Criclytics, which is the prediction engine for cricket.com, and our cricket expert, Jarrod Kimber. I'm going to welcome him now to the show. Jarrod Kimber!
Thank you very much.
Hey Jarrod, excited?
Yeah, I did better today. We'll get into the full details of it. I think I got robbed a little bit by rubbish fielding, if we're being completely honest. But as far as things go, I was in the game today. Put it this way: almost everyone I said actually played, which is a huge step up for me.
I'm really excited. But before we get in the game, I really want to ask, because that was the talk of the day. Have you seen MS Dhoni and his new hairstyle?
I did not see that. No, is this a thing I've missed?
You did not see that? You should. He looks like a monk. He's dressed like a monk. It's, I think, part of a commercial to promote IPL, as if IPL needed some promotion.
Not old monk. I've drunk a lot of old monk in my time in India. I can tell you that. Geez, I've had some headaches from that stuff. Not that I'm saying that MS Dhoni drinks that stuff or has a headache.
Anyway, speaking of MS Dhoni, he comes from the state called Jharkhand. And another boy who plays for Jharkhand, he was the surprise of the game today, right? Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about a lot in these videos, haven't we? That India wanted to try out some of these other guys, tried to play a little bit more attacking. You know, Ishan Kishan is the perfect guy for that. That's how he plays. And a lot of guys like Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul, they've sort of been, I don't know what, dulled down by the system. Because I think every time you fail as a young Indian batsman, there's so much social media and so much pressure on you. And I think that Ishan Kishan just came in and just went, no, I'm just going to play my way. I thought he was brilliant. I have noticed that the Criclytics website has said he wasn't the most valuable player. He was the difference between these two teams for me. Absolutely a stunning innings.
Let's go to our contest. And I think the first prediction was where I think it was about Jason Roy versus KL Rahul.
Yeah, so I went with Jason Roy based on the fact that he just looks like he's rolling at the moment. I'm not a big believer in form, but I'm a big believer in confidence, and he just looks like he's confident. It was quite interesting watching him up against Chahal, because Chahal is the guy who's supposed to be getting Jason Roy out. I mean, instead of trying to get him out, they really tried to slow him down by bowling wide of off stump. I'm not sure that's their best option. I think bowling straight at the stumps is going to be their best option. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the next game. But I thought he was incredible in this game. Very happy to take the points in that one. KL Rahul just doesn't look confident at the moment, does he? Sam Curran bowled a very good over to him, but I think he made that over look a lot better than it actually was. So, yeah, happy to take the points over poor Criclytics on that one.
Our second question, yes. David Milan versus Virat Kohli. You know why I am frustrated with this? Before you start answering that, I'm frustrated with this because Virat Kohli is back, so I'm happy. Okay, I'm really happy. But in last match, I had made him my captain. Okay, when he was out for a duck, and this time he was there in my team, but he was not as a captain.
No, you got ripped off there. Look, here's the problem with this one: is you can take your hell supercomputer that Criclytics has all you want. I was right on this one. It's just that Josh Buttler dropped Virat Kohli before he'd actually passed Milan's score. Very interesting from Milan's point of view. He got himself in. Quite often he does go on to make a bit of a score there. So it was interesting that he got out once he got in. But Virat Kohli, I thought, batted really well today. I thought he was very clever. He certainly wasn't the most important batsman. I mean, for me, that was definitely Ishan Kishan. But Virat Kohli, it was a really, really top innings. And a lot of people have been saying he was out of form. I'm not sure he was out of form. I thought he played some incredible innings in the test matches as well. He just didn't make any hundreds. But I thought that was a really – and we know – Virat Kohli in the second innings with a white ball for India, you kind of have to get out the way at a certain point, don't you? But it was, for me personally, I'm going to blame Josh Buttler for the fact I didn't win this one.
And if anyone who is watching this, please comment who was your pick there. Because, Jarrod, I have to tell you this, that for me, it works really well. because I listen to both of you. I listen to Criclytics also. I listen to you also, and I form a team. And I had David Milan as my captain, so he gave me decent number of points, and I had Virat Kohli in the team. I could have swapped
Okay.
that too.
Here's my tip. Here's my tip for you and any fantasy people out there. David Milan is a must-have because he very rarely goes out for under 20. Right?
Yeah.
Have a look at KL Rahul today. KL Rahul's a very good player. He made a duck off 6 balls. I don't know how many negative points you can be in fantasy cricket, but he should be a lot of negative points for that. David Milan he always gets himself in. It's very rare he fails, so he gives you a good platform. So even if he's not your captain, he's a good vice captain and a very good member in fantasy cricket. So there's my tip. And from now on in, he will not make another run in the series, and I will have ruined all of your fantasy teams.
Now the third question was that who will have higher fantasy points? That is Chahal or Rashid. And your pick was Rashid, and Criclytics had said Chahal. But I have to tell you, it was really close. I mean, Chahal got some 29 points and Rashid got some 27 points.
Yeah, I think in when you look at that game, they were both quite similar. They looked like they had a chance of getting wickets at any time, but they also looked like there was going to be a couple of 4s and 6s off them. Again, though, to come back to the Ben Stokes drop that you were mentioning earlier, that drop was off Rashid, and it was Ishan Kishan. And at that point, had he taken him early on, he wouldn't have done as much damage to him, and I probably would have taken the points on this. So again, I've been ripped off on a drop, but. Honestly, I think both of these players, I think both of them are chances of going for a lot of runs, and I think both of them are chances of getting wickets. And for me, that was a very tough one. I think Criclytics might have picked Chahal before I had my chance to have a go there. But realistically, I think in that particular situation, there was no wrong options, and the fact that they almost ended up on the exact same fantasy points kind of tells you that.
And the next one, right? We were talking about Ben Stokes for a while, and he is obviously the choice for all-rounder right now because Moeen Ali is not playing. So from England side, he is the choice of all-rounder, and the other all-rounder was Washington Sundar. So who will have the higher fantasy points, Ben Stokes or Washington Sundar? That was the question. And Criclytics had predicted Stokes, and you had predicted Sundar. So that round goes to you.
Yeah, I think I got a bit lucky with this one. I put my analytics hat on for a minute here. I think he got both of his wickets against right-handers who have good records against off-spin. Weirdly, he did bowl against the left-handers, and I don't think actually, even got close to getting one of them out. So I think I got a little bit lucky here. But my theory on Ben Stokes, I just don't think he's as good a T20 player. And when I say he's not a great T20 player, I don't think he's a great fit for this England team. I don't know where they can bat him. With Rajasthan can put him up the order, whereas England can't really do that because they already have so many openers there. And his bowling at international level, as Carlos Brathwaite once taught us, is maybe not the most ideal form of bowling when it comes to T20 cricket. So he's a very good franchise T20 cricketer, and he'd be a very good player in a lot of teams around the world, but I don't think he fits in. Whereas I think Washington Sundar is a phenomenal cricketer and can only go up and up. Here's a good story for you. I was with Bangalore when they drafted Washington Sundar, and they came to me with, I can't remember who the other player was, but they had 2 options. And I said, I don't care who your other option is. You go with Washington Sundar. You have a 10-year T20 player in Washington Sundar. And I think eventually he could bat, he could be a pinch-hitting opener, and he's a top quality bowler. So that's why I picked him over Ben Stokes. But I can see how the Criclytics thing would look at it and go, well, Ben Stokes is going to bat higher and maybe he will bowl almost as many overs. But I think over a long period of time, Washington Sundar will actually be a better T20 player for India than Ben Stokes might be for England, even if Ben Stokes is going to have a lot more games when he just does Ben Stokes things.
So, Jarrod, where do you think the game turned in favor of India? Any particular over or any particular phase in the game?
It comes up if you have a look at the Criclytics game-changing overs section, it comes up there. The second over that they have, which is India's 7th over of the innings. They were coming into that about 50% chance. And, watching it as an outsider, I was thinking at that point, easily that game could go either way, right? At that point. And then in that 7th over, they scored 17 runs, India. There was a no ball from Ben Stokes, a top edge that went for 6 for Virat Kohli. There's another 6 in that over as well. And I think if you look at that over, the 7th over is usually... T20 cricket is so funny. It's so predictable. Usually the 7th over is the second lowest scoring over, right? Because you come out of the power play and everyone slows down and goes, whoa, there's fielders out on the boundary. How did this happen? right? It's so silly that T20 cricketers do this, but they do this. Anyway, usually that goes for around less than 6 runs on over, I think, on average. Right, that over went for 17. So we're talking about almost 3 times as much. And if you look at the game-changing overs on Criclytics, you will see that they went from a 47% chance of winning that to a 57% chance. That's some jump, right? That is a big, big jump. And I think that's the point where they sort of broke that a little bit. I thought they had a very good power play with the bat, but to be able to back that up with a big 7th over, I think that threw England's plans into disarray. They weren't sure if they felt comfortable with Ben Stokes anymore after that. And with the fact that the fact that Moeen Ali wasn't picked, it meant that England didn't have a second spin option. So they had to go with the seam bowlers. And I think their bowling was a bit one-dimensional from that point forward. So, and especially if you have a look at this, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of left-handers for India did quite well. Moeen Ali would have been quite handy in this particular situation. So I think that 7th over really did change the game. But, it was Ishan Kishan's hitting in general that was the bigger difference between the two teams, I think.
So, Jarrod, after the first 4 questions, you're tied at 2-all. So we have to go to the tiebreaker. And if you remember, the last question, that is the tiebreaker, was that what are the 2 best players for captain and vice-captain choices for the game?
I feel a little bit ripped off by the fact that Milan got a start and didn't go on to get a 50 or 60 because he would have changed everything for me when it comes to that. I'm still a bit confused at why Criclytics did that. But to be honest, I'm quite often confused with why robots do things compared to humans. So I think in that particular case, there was, I think they got lucky with that one. But that's a tiebreaker question, so it doesn't count. So we were 2-all on this episode, so you don't need to count that. It's fine.
That's because we are 2-all. We will have to.
We're a tie. Oh, okay. Damn it. I thought I did quite well there. But yeah.
You played really well. I think you should talk to the English cricket team's fielding coach if you can get in touch with him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I should have won this one 4-0. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that I should have won this one 4-0. But that's how these things go.
Do you think you will be able to make a comeback?
I think if you look at net ratings at the moment, I have 3 points and they have 5 points. So I don't think I'm doing as bad as 2-0 makes it sound. I think I'm in the contest. And I think if Josh Buttler and Ben Stokes could catch, I would be sipping my old monk happily right now.
That said, we had a lot of fun on this episode. So all those guys who have watched this, I hope you have already subscribed to the channel. And let us know in the comment section how your team performed this time. Also download the cricket.com app and use the Criclytics section to make your fantasy team and become a fantasy strategist. So thanks for watching the show once again and see you next time. Bye-bye.